The time has come, ladies and gentlemen. The update 6.2 patch notes have arrived for Battlefield 5, along with the much anticipated weapon balance TTK details. In this video, I'll be breaking down all of the changes so you know exactly what weapons will do what damage after this update, how many bullets they're going to take to kill, and basically give you everything you need to be prepared for Thursday when DICE updates the game. That's worth mentioning right now. The patch has moved from Wednesday this week to Thursday, so a little bit longer to wait, but not really that much longer. And so without further ado, let's get stuck into it. Now, when DICE said late last week that they were almost going to be reverting the TTK and the weapon balance, it seems they really did mean it, because the bullet to kill values of the weapons are now much closer to what they were before all of this started with update 5.2. Community manager Jeff Braddock has compiled all of the bullet to kill values from updates 5.0, 5.2, 5.2.2, which is the hotfix, and the upcoming 6.2 update, so we can see the complete changes, or you can view them if you want to. But obviously we're going to be focusing mostly here on update 6.2, and the chart, at least in my opinion, does make for very good reading. Of course, it is worth remembering that none of us have tried this update yet, which means none of us have played with these new values, but there is nothing in these charts that you're about to see that concern me in the way that things did with update 5.2 and 5.2.2. Okay then, let's get things started with the assault class weapons. Of course, we have the assault rifles and the semi-automatic rifles. Now don't worry, I will be putting up charts on the screen whilst I talk about certain weapons so that you can see what the bullet to kill values are, because I'm going to be saying lots of different numbers in this video, and sometimes just having the chart on the screen, well, that really helped me earlier when I was making this commentary. So let's start things off. The STG, the Sturmgewehr 1.5, the M1907 and the Ribbe rolls, they are all assigned a 4 to 7 bullet to kill model with update 6.2. This brings them much close to the update 5.0 values, where all of these weapons were a 4 to 6 bullet to kill. Update 6.2 does slightly reduce the long-range damage potential past 50 meters for these weapons. That's where you're going to need the extra bullet to kill a player, but inside 50 meters, these weapons will now operate as they did in the past, which is pretty good news. The biggest winner here is the M1907, which took a serious hit with update 5.2 and the hotfix, so instead of a 13 or 10 bullet to kill maximum, the 1907 comes right into line with the other major assault rifles, but it's still going to sit apart from them because it will have more substantial recoil. Then we have the Breda PG, which is a weapon that I've recently really fallen back in love with. It's getting a 4 to 5 bullet to kill model, with the switch from 4 to 5 bullets happening at the 30 meter mark. So that means out to 30 meters, if you're accurate enough, you can still land that one 4-shot burst on an enemy, and you can just kill them outright. And then the newest member of the assault rifle group, we have the M2 carbine. This is getting a 5 to 8 bullet to kill model, and I think that's reflecting its higher rate of fire and higher bullet count per magazine. It only has a 5 bullet to kill potential out to 10 meters, however, and then it drops to 6 bullets to kill, so the rate of fire should make up for that, but you're definitely going to feel like it takes more bullets with the M2 carbine, I think. Semi-automatic rifles next. Things look good here as well. The M1 carbine is moving to a 4 to 6 bullet to kill model from the 4 to 7 bullet to kill model that it was in the previous update. This means only over 100 meters will you need that 6th bullet to kill somebody. So for all intents and purposes, in normal gameplay, you're going to need 4 or 5 bullets to kill someone. The M1 Garand, that has 2 different damage models in update 6.2, depending on whether you have the heavy load specialization equipped or you don't. If you're running without the heavy load, then it's a 3 to 5 bullet to kill model, with that 5th bullet only being needed over the 100 meter mark. If you are running with heavy load, then the Garand is a 3 to 4 bullet to kill model. So that eliminates the 5th bullet being needed over the 100 meter mark, and it extends the 3-hit kill range all the way out to 100 meters. So that means the Garand has pretty much been restored to its former glory. The Gewehr 43, the Karabin 1930 AM, and the Selbstlade M1916, they all share a 3 to 4 bullet to kill model. That mirrors the Garand with heavy load applied, and that means you're only going to need the 4th bullet once you reach past 100 meters. Then the AGM-42, that's getting a 4 to 5 bullet to kill model, setting it apart from the MAS 44 and the Turner SMLE. The higher rate of fire of the AG is offset by needing that extra bullet to kill enemies closer than 50 meters. The MAS 44 and the Turner SMLE, they're sharing a 3 to 5 bullet to kill model, with only that 5th bullet being needed beyond 100 meters. Okay then, moving on to the medic class next, and we're going to talk about their SMGs specifically. The bolt-action carbines that the medics can also use, they haven't been touched by any of this weapon balance stuff, so we don't need to mention those. Starting things off, the ZK383, the EMP, MP40, Sten, MP28, Tommy Gun, and Suomi, that's quite a lot of weapons, are all sharing a 4 to 9 bullet to kill model. The 4 bullet to kill minimum, that extends out to 10 meters, where the drop-off starts, and then past 75 meters, that's when you're going to need 9 bullets to kill. Between those 2 points, it is a slow, steady decline in damage. Now, the ZK383 is included twice in the charts, once for low and once for high rate of fire, but both modes fall into this 4 to 9 bullet to kill model. Then we have the M3 Grease Gun. That comes in with a 3 to 8 bullet to kill model, so that positions it as one of the slower, harder hitting SMGs in the game. The 3 bullet to kill minimum, that extends to 10 meters where it drops to 4 bullets to kill out to 20 meters. It beats all of the previously mentioned SMGs that I just spoke about by 1 bullet to kill at every range. But of course you have to remember that there's a slower rate of fire on the Grease Gun, and you'll have to take that into consideration. Then there's the Type 100 and the Type 2A. They're sharing a bullet to kill model. They're sharing 5 to 10 bullets, with the 5 bullets to kill only extending to the first 10 meters, and then the 10 bullets to kill becoming active after 75 meters. Now, neither of these SMGs are likely to be used beyond 30, 40, maybe 50 meters anyway, so their 10 bullet to kill maximums, they're pretty much irrelevant, I think. The MP34, that stands alone with a 4 to 8 bullet to kill model, so that places it somewhere between the faster firing SMGs and the M3 Grease Gun. And then lastly, we have the MAB38. That has a 4 to 9 bullet to kill model, but it's going to have a lower rate of fire and flatter recoil than some of the other SMGs, so you're looking at a nice middle-of-the-road, easy-to-control medic weapon. The support class is up now with its machine guns, and this is where things get kind of simple, and I can just show you the entire graph pretty much on the screen. All but one of the machine guns are covered by 4 to 7 bullet to kill models. The KE7, the LS26, the FG42, MG34, S2200, MG42, BAR, M1919, Type 97, Type 11, Bren, Lewis Gun, VGO, and M1922, they're all sitting with exactly the same bullet to kill statistics. The differentiating factors with these weapons are going to be rate of fire, ammo capacity, recoil patterns, and whether their weapons are classified as light machine guns or medium machine guns. The only weapon sitting separate to this system is the Masson, which you might remember was introduced into Battlefield 5 with a flat 6 bullet to kill damage model. With update 6.2, that flat 6 bullet to kill is being slightly upgraded to a 5 to 6 bullet to kill, and the switch over to 6 bullets, that happens after 50 meters. So that means the Masson will now be slightly more powerful up close than it was previously, but it remains one of the most predictable weapons in the game when it comes to damage output, and I really like the Masson already, so pretty much guaranteed that I'm going to carry on liking it after update 6.2. And now for the Recon class, before we talk about some weapon-specific recoil changes. The Recon class is getting several weapon changes in update 6.2, with all of the bolt-action rifles having their muzzle velocity increased to sit them as the most long-range weapons in the game. But on top of that, the pistol carbines, they're also being changed up a bit. The P08 carbine is moving to a 3 to 7 bullet to kill, with that 7th bullet only being needed past the 100 meter mark, and the trench carbine, that's getting a 3 to 8 bullet to kill, with the 8th bullet only being needed past the 100 meter mark as well. All of the self-loading rifles, the RSC, the Model 8, the ZH29, and the Selbstlade 1906, they all remain at their previous bullet to kill values from 5.2.2. They were still pretty powerful, so DICE hasn't changed them. Okay, that's all of the damage stuff done. Now we're going to talk about some recoil changes, and I'm going to list these off for you now. The Suomi SMG has had its vertical recoil increased from 0.69 to 0.84, and horizontal recoil from 0.8 to 0.85. The Tommy Gun's vertical recoil, that's being increased from 0.7 to 0.86, and horizontal recoil from 0.77 to 0.8. The ZK383, when using the light bolt specialization from the spec tree, that's had its initial vertical recoil increased from 0.56 to 0.7, its maximum vertical recoil increased from 0.644 to 0.805, and horizontal recoil from 0.765 to 0.799. The MP28, that's had its initial vertical recoil increase from 0.6 to 0.71, and its maximum vertical recoil from 0.68 to 0.71 as well. You'll notice that both of these values are now the same, and I think that means that the MP28 just has one standard vertical recoil value, higher than either of the previous points. Then we've got the Type 2A. Here comes the nerf. Vertical recoil is increased from 0.49 to 0.63, that's a fairly heavy jump. Horizontal recoil from 1.1 to 1.14, and DICE has made the inaccuracy whilst in hipfire increase slightly faster. So I'd say that's a fairly heavy nerf. It will be interesting to see what kind of effect this has and whether DICE has to go even further in their next update. The rate of fire is just absolutely insane on the Type A, so if these recoil things work, then that's great, because people are going to stop using the Type 2A all the time. The Type 100 is also getting the same inaccuracy whilst in hipfire treatment as the Type 2A, with it now increasing slightly faster. And the M3 Grease Gun, that's kind of getting the opposite. The inaccuracy while in hipfire is now increasing slightly slower. The M2 Carbine, the inaccuracy whilst in hipfire is now going to increase slightly faster, and DICE has corrected some of the modifiers that made the two hipfire specializations in its spec tree a little bit too weak, so kind of an up and a down there for the M2 Carbine. Then the Lewis gun, initial vertical recoil is being decreased from 0.62 to 0.61. The minimum vertical recoil is being increased from 0.44 to 0.51, and horizontal recoil is being increased from 0.48 to 0.5. So the favourite weapon of all the Battlefield 5 hackers out there is now a little bit less controllable than what it was before, although pretty sure with all their hacks that doesn't really matter anyway. And then to wrap things up, some bolt-action rifle changes. The Gewehr M95 is having its muzzle velocity increase from 600 to 750 meters a second, the SMLE from 500 to 600, the Kar98 from 700 to 900 meters per second, and the same for the Krag, 700 to 900 meters per second. That's a bit ridiculous. We'll have to see what happens there. And then the Type 99 is having its max damage increase from 75 to 80, its damage drop-off starting at 30 meters instead of 20, and minimum damage is increased from 60 to 66. Now, that is a lot of data talk, and it confused me a little bit when I was trying to type out this commentary and get all the values right, so if you're a little bit confused, I don't blame you, but that's why I put the charts on the screen, so maybe you could pause things and look at stuff for yourself. But what can you really take away from all of this? The damage model that DICE had before they started all of this back in, December last year, is basically back. It's almost identical. But the team have tacked on a bit of extra damage drop-off at longer ranges. So for most weapons, you are going to need an extra bullet at long range to kill people. This means that the combat should remain fast-paced in close quarters and mid-range gunfights, but at longer ranges things will be a little bit slower, not a lot slower, but a little bit slower, and will require a bit more focus. And if I think back correctly, that is exactly what DICE wanted to do initially when they first started all of this, but for some reason, something went wrong along the way and we got something wildly different than they anticipated. But that's nearly all behind us now, because on Thursday, this new setup is going live and we can just check out what DICE has built for us. Thanks very much for watching. Make sure you leave me a rating and a comment. It is always appreciated. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.